Today we're using my favorite budget camera of all time. Now, I know there's a ton out there, and I've tried them all. I have a lot of cameras, and this is still to this day my favorite. And the nice part about this is I have 3 lenses in the camera in this little bag. This is the Wotan Craft bag, by the way. This is my favorite bag of all time. I know you guys seen this on my channel before. It's always on me. Even when I'm using bigger cameras, I'll stuff them in here because I love this bag that much. It just feels great, and the size is perfect for me. Anyway, this isn't a sales for the bag. Just saying. So this camera, since version 1, and this is funny. So version 2 was, had all these upgrades, and it's faster autofocus. It has more bells and whistles, but I don't use it as much as I use version 1. And there's a reason for that. And I'll let you know at the end. But this camera is my favorite, and it's my most recommended camera for people starting out in photography or amateurs looking for a second body or something like that. So once you use this camera, it's magic. You put it in your hand and it just feels wonderful. I just love the feel of it. Now, it's not for everybody. This is my opinion, obviously. But if you've never used one before, you got to try it. Go into a store and pick one up because you're going to be kind of impressed, I promise you. So I'm using this camera today. I don't use it professionally because it only has 1 card slot. And I do a lot of shoots where they're just for fun or for YouTube, or I walk around with my daughter or friends and family and I shoot. And it's perfect for that. I love the size, the weight, the Viltrox lenses with this camera. Oh my God, it's like they're a match made in heaven with these. I have the 20 millimeter, the 50 millimeter, the 45 millimeter. I just love the system. And with this camera, it just makes it extra special because they are so lightweight and fun to use. But today I'm going to shoot in the studio because I want to do some high-end photos to show you just how good this quality is. Now, version 1 to version 2 quality, same exact thing. There's no difference in image quality. Version 2 has more bells and whistles and faster autofocus and blah, blah, blah. My subjects don't bounce around like this when YouTubers do to make sure the focus works. They move, but this camera holds with them at all times. But, how often do you shoot people running towards your camera or bobbing below and back up to see how quickly? It just doesn't work that way. In real world shooting, we just shoot people. They move a little bit, but still the camera keeps up with it without a problem at all. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking because I want to get into the shoot and show you some of these images. And then at the end, we're going to take a look at what camera this is and why I like it as much as I do and why I recommend it as much as I do. Okay, so before I start gushing about the camera anymore, I just want to tell you what I'm using for the shoot. So the single light that I'm using is the Godox AD200 Pro version 2. I'm using it with the extension head and the bare bulb flash head. I have that inside that strip box that I've been showing you guys so much of. It's just a lightweight strip box that works fantastic. And I'm using the Godox S2 bracket. They have a new one out that I really want to try. I got one off of Westcott and I hated it. It has this clamp thing that you just push down to lock it in. And don't get me wrong, it's a nice bracket. It's well made. It's solid construction, but it doesn't fit the bare bulb from Godox. So I didn't like it because of that. Otherwise, it's a nice bracket. I hate S brackets as a whole. I just want to get that out there. And I'm using the grid. Now, I'll take the grid off later. But, for now, I want to leave the grid on. So camera and flash settings, because everybody's always asked me this, and I know I say it in videos, but I still get comments in the comment section. What were your settings? So the flash is in between 1/8 and 1/16 power. Believe it or not, that's all I need. And I have the camera at ISO 100 and f4.5 to 5.6. I go, in that range, and 1/200th of a second, I think it was. But that's it. That's the camera settings, the single flash that I'm using, and I'm using a reflector. I'm using both the silver side and white side. The camera. I love this camera. This is so much fun to shoot with. There's not as many bells and whistles as all the other cameras. But again, I don't use them anyway, so I don't care. Like I can set this on manual, set my ISO shutter speed, point and shoot. It is easy to use. It is lightweight, it is fun to use. And these lenses are tack sharp. Now I know everything that the YouTubers say that they keep pounding down people's throats that you can't use these lenses if you're a professional. They're not professional lenses. Let me tell you something. The image quality coming from these lenses, I'll put it up against any lens. What Viltrox is doing with their lenses. Don't get me wrong. I love Sigma. I love Tamron. I love the Nikon lenses and the Sony lenses. But for a lightweight, inexpensive lens that can produce these kind of images, you cannot argue this one bit. And that's why I have so many of them. I have a lot of Viltrox lenses, both for the Sony system and for the Nikon system, because I love them that much. And, the 50 Air is just one of my favorites. That new Evo 85mm f2, absolutely fantastic. And later I'm going to throw the 20mm on the camera. And when you see that, it's stunning. It does a great job, and there's like very little distortion, if any at all. I don't pixel peep very much, but I'm going to pull in on this one just so you can see the quality of this lens. This is the 50mm. And, with a combination of the camera and lens, it's fantastic. And again, that small bag and being able to have that many lenses in the bag and just be, grab and go for fun shoots. I love this system the most. So everybody always asks me, like, why do I always push for the smaller lenses, smaller cameras when, you have the 60 megapixels and the 100 megapixels? Because it's just fun to shoot. And, these images are going social media. They're not going to print. But if they did go into print, this camera can handle it. I've done a billboard with a smaller sensor than this. A professional full-size billboard in the middle of a major metropolitan city, and it was a smaller sensor than this, and it just is absolutely beautiful. So, I know everybody wants those more megapixels and, the best lenses money can buy, but you just don't need them. I mean, honestly, you have to be honest with yourself and say, am I going to do large prints? Am I going to do large commercial work? If you're not, why? What's the use of it? Again, I know a lot of you like to pixel peep, and it is the fun of the process of being able to zoom in and look at those tiny pixels and go, ooh. But, for me, the overall image is everything, and taking the images is the most fun. For a lot of people, the most fun is bringing back the images to computer and pixel peeping them and looking at blurry backgrounds. For me, it's looking at the images and saying, oh, I absolutely love these. And I want to do as little post-processing as possible because I just want to enjoy the shoot itself. That's where the fun is. That's where you work with people or landscapes or whatever you shoot. That's where you have to really enjoy photography, not in the back end and post-processing and pixel peeping. Granted, yeah, it's nice to zoom in on these images and see how great they are, but this camera you can zoom in on and look at the pixels, and they're fantastic. And these lenses are sharp as can be. I'm not looking in the far corners. If I did, I'm sure they would be fine, but I'm not because I don't need to. I'm looking at the overall image and just appreciating it. And, while I'm shooting it, I'm appreciating it even more because this camera is lightweight, feels great in the hand. It does everything I would want a camera to do. And again, that's why I recommend this one so much to so many different people. Again, the version 2 is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I love the camera. But this one is a little smaller, a little lighter, and the image quality is exactly the same. I don't shoot people bobbing, weaving, and running towards the camera. I really don't. And, the other day I shot sports with a ZF and a Viltrox lens, and the images were great. But, for me, most of my stuff is studio stuff and, events, even weddings I would shoot this with if this had the 2 card slots. But I use the Viltrox lenses for weddings and events all the time because I love them. They're lightweight, they fit in my bag, and my shoulders aren't aching at the end of the day. But for fun shoots, you just can't beat this system. Anyway, so I love this little flash setup. I push the strip box a lot on the channel, especially something, when you can get these kind of images out of this. And again, you can keep that vertical. You can turn it horizontal. It doesn't matter how you use it. It really is just a very versatile softbox compared to most. That's why I love it so much. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this shoot. Now we're going to reveal what camera this was. I'm guessing some of you guessed already. So did you figure out what camera it could be? Maybe you got a glimpse of it during the shoot. I don't know. I hope not, but it's a Nikon Z50. Now, this is the original Z50. I have the Z50 version 2. This is the original Z50. This is still so tiny, and this is smaller than the Z50 version 2. It's thinner. It just feels remarkable in the hand. And with these Viltrox lenses, this is the 50 F2 Air. It's a full frame lens. I use the Viltrox full frame on these because it's just better image quality across the board because you have more space on the lens to, to deal with a smaller sensor. This is the crop sensor. It's fantastic. It just works. And you saw by the image quality, it's remarkable image quality, but carrying this thing around, whether I'm walking around the city or in the studio or just having fun, this is the one I pick all the time because I love using it. The autofocus is fantastic. It really is. The image quality, same exact image quality as the version 2. There's no difference. It's a 20 megapixel sensor. Listen, I know 100 megapixel sensors are fantastic because we as photographers get to zoom in on these things and look at those tiny details, but we're the only ones doing that. That satisfaction only makes us satisfied. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you do this for, you want to zoom in and have perfect lenses and zoom in to have perfect pixels, that's great. But for me, honestly, I just love shooting pictures of people that people go, "Oh, I love that image of me." That's the high for me. And that's what makes photography so enjoyable and has for the past 42 plus years. I keep saying 42 years for many, many years, but anyway, that's why I love this. And this camera, there's just nothing I don't like about it. Honestly, there really isn't. Could it have this? Could it have that? I'm sure it could, but I don't think I would use it. I just use it as is, and it's fantastic. So if you haven't tried one of these, obviously this isn't a sales video because these, you can only get these used anymore. So I don't have a link for anything, but if you can find these used, they're so inexpensive. I mean, you can get these for $400 or $500, which is fantastic for this quality of a camera, this quality of a body. I shoot Fuji. I shot one of my favorite Fuji was the X Pro III, and I like the XT3. But after that, the quality of the cameras themselves started going down. They just didn't feel as good as they used to. Like the XT3 felt like solid body, professional body. The X Pro III, just solid. And then when I get the new ones, it's like just a little bit more plasticky. The buttons are a little bit more mushy. With this, it just feels great. It feels like it was well made. It feels great in the hand. The ergonomics, the grip, everything about it. The size is just a joy to use. You see how small this body is. It's fantastic. And adding the Viltrox lenses like this 50, the 45, the 20, the 20 is a 30 millimeter on this. Oh my God, what a joy to use. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I just wanted to share this with you because I use this so often. And when people ask me, what should they get? So many times I recommend this camera because it's inexpensive. You can get it on the used market. There's a lot of them in great condition. They just work, and they're fun to use and enjoyable to use. Anyway, thanks for watching as always. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'll be glad to answer them.